Well, good morning, XCD. Today is April 20... Let me see, the 6th was on Friday, which was Avengers Endgame premiere, and 27, 28, 29. April 29th today, 2019. Headed to work about 6:34 in the a.m. Had a bit of a bump yesterday, we'll call it. Struggles from the enemy.
Could it be Satan?
Just trying to kind of side rail some stuff that's going on in our lives, like the purchase of our house, and we were able to resolve it yesterday. It's good to have that perspective. It's good to have a godly perspective when you're dealing with stuff, so that you can truly see what's going on, that you're not battling against flesh and blood. You truly are battling against the forces of darkness. And it's just good to be able to have that perspective as you go through life. I have, and this doesn't seem like it's big, but it kind of is. I've unsubscribed from DDE, which is Daily Driven Exotics. I was a pretty faithful follower, and I'm just unplugging a little bit, and I definitely will pick up with them again. They'll build content quickly because they produce 2 or 3 videos at least a week, sometimes more, and they're usually 25 minutes. So it'll be like binge watching a season of some show on Netflix once I actually get around to watching their channel again. I just want to unplug a little bit, step back a little bit, and be able to kind of focus on some other things. Really want to just focus on my writing. My specific goal starting in February was to write at least 10 hours a week, and now my goal is to write at least 2,000 words per day when I do sit down to write, so that I'm writing about 5 days a week, and that to me is some pretty darn good consistency with writing. And so I've been doing pretty good, at least, because writing would include like my devotions and things of that nature, my sermons. Did not check my lottery ticket for this weekend, so I'm gonna go do that real quick and we'll be right back.
A few moments later.
No go. Play again, please. I play the lottery for fun, and obviously for the one day of unexpected big payoff. That would be pretty freaking cool. You don't play it with the kind of, well, I can't say that, because every once in a while I will kind of daydream about, oh man, what would it be like? Lotto America usually is a pretty low payoff. I mean, that's subjective. It's a lot more than scratchers. Scratchers can pay, I think, up to $1 million. And the Lotto America is $1, and it pays off about anywhere from about 8 to 18 million, give or take. And I'm like, well, that's just plenty for me, because I think I had figured it a while back, and about $7 million after taxes. So like 7 million take home is about what I need to live comfortably. It would barely allow me to retire comfortably if I wanted to live in California. But maybe, buy a house, and then all you'd have to do is pay for your insurance, homeowner's insurance, and your property taxes, and be good to go. We met a couple over the weekend, Raul and Diane. They're originally from San Diego, along with Danny and his wife Maggie, and Raul and Diane had a condo, in 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. It's worth like $500,000, and their sister's just renting it now. And they live here in Rio Rancho. In fact, they live fairly near to where I'm driving. They live on Nicholas. They're so funny. Mexicans are so funny. They go, how do you pronounce it? Nicholas? He goes, there's no O in it though. I'm like, no, it's like Jack Nicklaus, the golfer. I'm like, you guys just aren't white enough. And so it's kind of funny because they have like, their house is like $170,000 on like a quarter acre. They're just like so in love with it. Like, it has so much room and so many trees, and you just get so much more for your money, especially subjectively moving from Southern California to a place like New Mexico, where you can literally buy a house for the price that you would, barely a down payment for a condo or an apartment. But then again, baby, Southern California, especially San Diego, gonna drive by a place right now called Eurospec Performance, and it is on Friday night we were coming home from Bible study, and we're right over there, maybe about 4 blocks from our house, and we pull up behind this car, and it's got its flashers going, and I'm looking right at the back of the car, which is pretty low off the ground, and I immediately recognize the emblem, but it's not like registering in my brain. And my wife goes, babe, it's a Lamborghini. And I'm like, what? It was a friggin' Gallardo. And it was like stopped, and so the guy's like, go around. And so we pull up next to him. I'm like, hey, do you need any help? He's like, no, I called a wrecker. And I'm like, well, do you need us to push you out of traffic? He's like, well, yeah, if you guys could push me back to the curb, that would be great. So I'm wearing flip-flops. Yeah, the best traction in the world. Fortunately, the car was like close enough to like a little seam in the cement where I was able to get a little bit of traction. And he goes, well, I've got it in neutral. He goes, do you need me to help push? I'm like, yeah, probably. And so he gets out, and we're still not able to push this thing because it's on a little bit of a downward incline. And so then Cynthia gets out, and she helps push, and that's all we needed, and we were able to get the car moving. And so we get it next to the curb, and the guy's like, man, thanks a lot. He goes, yeah, I work for Eurospec Performance, and I was taking this car for a test drive. He goes, I think the e-gear is leaking. And I was like, oh, man. And I introduced myself, and he introduced himself. He goes, yeah, my name's Brandon. And I'm like, well, hey, man, would you mind? I think he invited me to come by the shop. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. I was like, would you mind if I got some video? I go on the YouTube channel. He's like, yeah. And so that was pretty cool. And then I went and I got a little bit of footage of him. Here we are, Brandon. Is it? Brandon, Eurosport Rio Rancho. Eurospec Rio Rancho. So this is awesome. We've got our homegrown Lambos right here in my backyard. So we're gonna do a little bit more with him and Eurospec. So good to see you, man. Good to meet you.
Yeah, take it easy.
You betcha, brother. It was all dark, so you really couldn't see him. And but it was kind of cool just because I was like, I kind of put the Lamborghini stuff on the back burner, and yet God allowed me to just out of the blue, divine appointment kind of deal, run into this guy, and his shop I think is actually up here on the right. Yep, it's right there. Eurospec Performance is right there. And there's Gallardo right up front, baby. So, pretty cool. He works on Audis and Alfa Romeos, and yeah, so that was pretty cool. So I'm gonna go by either at lunch or after work and just kind of get a sense of the business, and yeah. And I'd really like to just be able to kind of pop in, have them know my face, so that when they do get some cool cars in there, I can go in there and get some footage. I'm like, what better than having friggin' Lamborghinis right at my back door, especially right on my way to work. So that was kind of cool. It was a little bonus for my weekend.